Hi and welcome to Northants Wargamers on the Road. My name's Barry and today we're at Fanboy 3 in Manchester for the second semi-final matchup in the UK City Championship for Age of Sigmar Champions. It's between John-Paul Golightly on the left playing Mordant Quick Quest and Craig on the right playing Rotigus Rainfather. Both these decks have performed very well throughout the City Championships, so we should be in for a good game. So slightly incorrect deployment for JP. He should still have one champion remaining, but we have two monstrous Haunter Courtiers. We have a Lord Executioner and we have a Crypt Haunter Courtier, and for Craig we have a Blood Reaver Chieftain under the glare, a Chaos Champion, Rotigus Rainfather and a second Blood Reaver Chieftain. So it's JP's go. He starts with the Frightful Strike, so 3 damage to Craig. Craig has to discard a card, put it back in his deck, because the Blood Reaver Chieftain is less points than that monstrous Haunter Courtier, and the Blood Reaver Chieftain is disengaged. So JP's raring to go. He's already got his next card going, so that's going to be a unit to hit that second quest on that monstrous Haunter Courtier. Craig's decided on what card, and then we get a fearsome Crypt Flare going in. So just trying to slow the brakes down on the on that Blood Reaver Chieftain on lane 4. So Rotigus is going to heal 1. So it's whether or not Craig's going to start questing this Blood Reaver Chieftain down on lane 1. Okay, so we've got eyes and a 9 going in. So first quest done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain. Fearsome Crypt Flare deals 2 damage. Third quest done on that monstrous Haunter Courtier on lane 1 for JP. So we've got a Feasting Vargeist going into play. Would normally heal 1, but JP can't go any higher than 35. So Rotigus Rainfather is going to heal for 1 himself. Eyes and a 9 is going to deal 1 damage. So the Mordant Quick Quest deck is very good at slowing your opponent down. It's got Expansiger in there for making champions dormant. It's got Supernatural Horror in there for making units dormant. And the fearsome Crypt Flare can make a unit dormant on its specific lane. You'll find the Vigor Necris being played to get those fearsome Crypt Flares out of the discard pile and back into play. So essentially he is playing with 6 cards. 6 unit cards that can make dormant and 2 blessings that make things dormant. So yeah, slows your opponent down and you just rattle through your quests. What you might find watching JP this time is Lord Executioner won't be questing that much. It is solely there to reduce the ability damage from Chaos, because Chaos have some very high damage abilities. So 2 damage from Fearsome Crypt Flare, and he's going to heal that back up to 35 for the Feasting Vargeist. There we go. Second quest done on that Crypt Haunter Courtier on lane 4. So we've got a Fuel the Grey Tide going in. So looks like Tireless Crypt Flare. Normally it's Thorns of the Briar Queen going now, so he can get them back when he needs it. So the Eyes and a 9 is going to trigger. So Craig gets to look at the top 3 cards of his deck. If he gets a spell, he gets to deploy that on Rotigus. If not, he can look at the top 3 cards and put them back in any order he likes. Okay, so Craig didn't get any spells that time, so he just put the units back, or put the cards back on top. At least he knows what those next 3 cards are. Rotigus heals 1. So it's whether or not he's going to do the second quest on this Blood Reaver Chieftain down on lane 1. Either follow up with an event and then lay a unit so he can get 2 quests done this turn. So the next corner on that Feasting Vargeist, JP is going to draw 2 cards. So we have a Blood Fury Wrathmonger going into play, 2 damage, 1 damage to himself. I was quite surprised Camulus didn't, or sorry, Craig didn't play an event there, because now he's got to wait a little bit longer to trigger the 3rd quest on that Blood Reaver Chieftain. Fearsome Crypt Flare leaves play, Feasting Vargeist lets JP draw 2 cards. So we have a Freakish Crypt Horror going into play. We get the Blessing Expansive Girt. So now all of Craig's Champions of Dormant, Rotigus will not be triggering for 3 turns. And that Freakish Crypt Horror is going to allow it's going to allow JP to heal every other turn. So Rotigus does nothing. Blood Fury Wrathmonger does 2 damage to JP and 1 damage to himself. So Fanatical Skull Fiend going in, 1 damage to himself. First quest should have been done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain at the top though. So Freakish Crypt Horror deals 1 damage to Craig and JP heals 1. Curse Strike goes in, 3 damage. Gets to decide if he wants to rotate that Blood Fury Wrathmonger forward or back. Chooses to do neither. And a Freakish Crypt Horror goes into play. We get the Royal Hunt. So 2 blessings revealed already for JP, so he's off to a rattling start. So the Royal Hunt is going to cause some problems now for Rotigus, because Rotigus is over 7 points. 2 damage from the Blood Fury Wrathmonger, 1 damage to himself, 3 damage from the Fanatical Skull Fiend. So any units or events played in the lane opposite to Rotigus will be at +3 damage. So we have Reckless Abandon going into play, so it's going to do 4 damage with Reckless Assault. And then it's going to remove the Blood Fury Wrathmonger, which removes that Freakish Crypt Horror with its last stand ability. So 1 turn left for Expansive Girt. So the Blood Reaver Chieftain at the top didn't rotate because Expansive Girt was out. So Craig remembered, so did JP. I didn't. So I quite like playing with tokens out on my cards to remind me of effects that are in play. I normally put a little gold token on things that are dormant. It's a good reminder for both players. So Devour played. Skull Fiend goes, triggers its last stand though, so 2 damage to JP. JP gets to go into his discard pile, grab a card, which is a Tireless Crypt Flare, puts it back into his deck. Okay, so Craig's go. So Rotigus isn't going to do anything because he's still dormant. Okay, so we go in with the Fearless Courgrass, 2 damage. So now no one can deploy on that Crypt Haunter Courtier. 2 damage to Craig and 2 health back for JP. Expansiger is no longer in effect. So Craig can now get on with questing his units. Or sorry, questing his champions. So JP passes, draws 2 cards. He's got a frightful strike in there. Rotigus then heals for 1. Fearless Courgrass deal 1 damage. So there's not that much in it. 18 health for Craig and 20 health for JP. That seemed a little bit one-sided so far. JP's definitely had the advantage. 2 blessings have now been revealed. The Royal Hunt is in effect. That frightful strike going in against Rotigus is going to deal 6 instead of 3. And we'll hit that first quest on that monstrous Haunter Courtier as well. So just depends on whether or not JP wants to play it on that lane or wants Craig to discard a card. We've got Insatiable Blood Reaver going into play. Does the first quest on that Blood Reaver Chieftain. Now he's not dormant. So you might see a Scrabbling Horror come out as well. So maybe a Frightful Strike, Scrabbling Horror. A lot of damage potentially coming Craig's way. So that 6-10 damage potentially. We've got Rejoicing Slaughter coming out. So a bit strange because normally that's played first and then the removal goes in. So you gain the two cards from its corner. So we have a Curse Strike going in. 6 damage. He's going to rotate Rejoicing Slaughter forward, so he's not going to give Craig the chance to gain any cards. So he's got good card pressure there, considering Craig filled his hand up because of Expansiger. Follows up with the Scrabbling Horror, so that's 4 damage. All because of the Royal Hunt. So 1 damage, Rotigus Rainfather. Fearless Courgrass leave play. So does Rejoicing Slaughter. 3 damage to JP and then gets to heal 2. So Craig's got to really deal with this Scrabbling Horror. A beat back maybe to send it on its way. A Blood Hunt. So we got a Blood Hunt going in. Removes the Scrabbling Horror. Gains a health back, so he's back to 11. So JP's got a Frightful Strike, so that's still 6 damage. So he could, if he's got a unit or a Mordant unit, he can potentially complete the quests over on this second Monstrous Haunter Courtier. So Craig has drawn a card. JP's go. So we've got Frightful Strike and a Feasting Vargeist. So we can't complete the quest, get that blessing on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier. So he's elected to draw 2 cards. So it is Craig's go. Rotigus will heal for 1. Insatiable Blood Reavers will leave play. So we've got 1 quest left to do on this Blood Reaver Chieftain at the bottom. 2 more to go for the Blood Reaver at the top. We have a Furious Strike coming out for 5 damage. Reveals a blessing. We get Gaze and Urgle. So is Craig going to go for it or is he going to heal for 6? So 6 damage. Then 5 damage from Furious Strike. 3 damage because of Lord Executioner. So is Craig going to follow up with the unit? Play it on this Blood Reaver Chieftain on lane 4. Okay, so Fanatical Skullfiend going into play, 1 damage. Sets himself up for 1 quest left for that Blood Reaver Chieftain on lane 4. JP's go. So, looks like Frightful Strike, 6 damage. Follows up with the Scrabbling Horror, and we get Supernatural Horror. So 4 damage now, so that leaves Craig on 1. So Craig's go. That Fanatical Skullfiend is dormant. So Rotigus is going to heal for 1. Oh no, sorry, it deals 1 damage. Sorry about that, because he's now engaged. So unless Craig is going to pull something magical out of his hat, it looks like that's going to be game. If he can get rid of this Scrabbling Horror. So Putrid Offering going in. So he's going to deal 2 damage and heal 2. And gains Unrivaled Battle Lust. Too little, too late. Would have been handy if that had come out instead of Gaze and Urgle. So Last Stand doesn't work because the Fanatical Skullfiend is dormant. So what Craig's got left. Okay, so Fearless Choreographs go in, 2 damage. And there we go. So JP wins game 1. Craig really needs to pull it back. Into game 2, here we go. So we have Monstrous Haunter Courtier, we have a Lord Executioner, a Monstrous Haunter Courtier, and a Crypt Haunter Courtier. And we have for Craig, Blood Reaver Chieftain, Chaos Champion, Rotigus Rainfather, and the 2nd Blood Reaver Chieftain. So Craig has decided to go first. He's trying to get the damage train going. So, Insatiable Blood Reaver going into play. First quest done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain on lane 1. Feasting Vargeist goes in, so 1 health back. But he's on 35, so he can't go up. So, Rotigus Rainfather is going to heal for 1. 3 damage from Insatiable Blood Reaver and then heals for 2. So now Craig is on 35. So he's going to lay an Impenetrable Hide. So he's going to stop any healing while that's in play. So the second quest does not go off for this Crypt Haunter Courtier because the Feasting Vargeist cannot heal. So that card is becoming very popular against Mordants, and when against Sylvaneth, especially when they have double Branch Wraith, or Sacred Branch Wraith, I should say. So we have Vigor Necrus going into play. First quest done on Monstrous Haunter Courtier. Tireless Crypt Flare comes out and then rotates, so 2 damage. 2 quests done on that Monstrous Haunter Courtier already. Rotigus will then heal for 1. Insatiable Blood Reaver leaves play. 3 damage from Impenetrable Hide. Follows up with the Blood Fury Wrathmonger. 2 damage, 1 damage to himself. 1 quest left to go on this Blood Reaver Chieftain on lane 1. There we go, Nurgle's Rot, we get the blessing. What do we get? Expansive Gur. Nice pull. And then 4 damage. And then he has to take 1 himself. And then removes the Feasting Vargeist when the Last Stand triggers on that Blood Fury Wrathmonger. Because it leaves play due to Nurgle's Rot. So 3 damage to Craig. That Monstrous Haunter Courtier should not have spun because Expansive Gur was in effect. So play with tokens. Then you remember. So it is up to Craig to remember, as well as JP. Freakish Crypt Horror going into play. So Rotigus Rainfather heals for 1. Impenetrable Hide then leaves play. Is he going to start on this Blood Reaver Chieftain at the top? Yes, so we have Fanatical Skull Fiend going into play. 1 damage to himself. First quest done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain and draws a card. Freakish Crypt Horror will deal 1 damage to Craig and JP will heal 1. So we have a Freakish Crypt Horror going into play. So looking to get some healing. Won't trigger that quest though because of Expansive Curve. Rotigus Rainfather then heals for 1. Fanatical Skull Fiend will deal 3 damage. Second quest done on that Blood Reaver Chieftain. Expansive Curve is nearly over. 1 turn left for that. Craig draws 2. JP's go. 1 damage from the Freakish Crypt Horror. Nothing from the second. And he draws 2. So Craig's go. Expansiger is over. Rotigus Rainfather will heal for 1. Fanatical Skull Fiend will spin and deal 1 damage. So as we've seen before in previous games, Rotigus is very good at negating the damage from Fanatical Skull Fiends and Blood Fury Wrathmongers. But we have seen them lose in the past when Expansive Gers come out, and then those units have ended up finishing him off. So we have an Eyes of the Nine coming into play. First quest done on this Chaos Champion. It's a rare sight, a Chaos Champion questing. So 2 damage from that Freakish Crypt Horror, 2 health back. Got another Freakish Crypt Horror going into play, and we get the Royal Hunt out. So shouldn't really have come out now, because JP did quest that Monstrous Haunter Courtier when Expansive Girl was on. So we have a Vigor Necris coming out. Discards a Scrabbling Horror, puts that into play. 4 damage. And again, 4 damage. So lots of damage there. Asking the question of Craig. So 1 damage from Rotigus Rainfather. Eyes of the Nine will do 1 damage. Fanatical Skull Fiends will do 3 damage. So still really even, but JP will get quite a lot of health back, so he'll get 3 health back in his next turn. So Craig draws 2, everything spins. Why did he take that one off? That should have been 1 damage, 1 health back. So we've got a bit of confusion there. JP's gone a bit too quick. Now he can't remember which position cards are supposed to be in. That's not right. So he's done 2 damage when that should have gone off and healed for 2. 6 damage with Scrabbling Horror. And 2 health back and 2 damage. So that Freakish Crypt Horror should not be there. It should be on lane 1 on 1 damage, 1 health back. So Feast for Souls is going to put Eyes and the Nine back in his hand. So he's going to heal for 2, but Eyes and the Nine is on leaving play, not when it's removed. So Craig still gets to look at 3 cards, deploy any spells that he pulled. If not, put the cards back on the top in any order he likes. So JP just needs to slow down a little bit. He's now, I don't understand why he's spinning champions, because he's missed the triggers for those. Triggering quest is not mandatory. So JP just needs to slow down, take stock. So Rotigus is going to deal 1 damage. Fanatical Skullfiend leaves play. Fearless Coregrass come out, so 2 damage. 1 quest left to go on this Blood Reef Chieftain at the top. Are we going to see an event? We've got a Furious Strike going in for 4 damage, but first we see Unrivaled Battlelust. So 4 damage for the Furious Strike, and Lord Executioner reduces it down to 3. So 6 damage, or no damage, sorry, that's an X corner, isn't it? My bad. Okay, passes, draws 2 cards. Rotigus will deal 1 damage. Unrivaled Battlelust will deal himself 1 damage, and then 4 damage with that Fearless Coregrass. So we've got a Gorslick Skull Reaper going into play, 4 Ren damage. Follows up with an Insatiable Blood Reaver. That Fearless Coregrass should be removed from play. There we go. JP's just pointing that out. There we go. So Scrabbling Horror leaves play. Is JP's go. We have a Curse Strike going in for 6, and then a Thorns of the Briar Queen going in for 5. So that finishes Craig off. JP takes it. So it's going to be a all Mordant Quick Quest final. So like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.